Here we go.
Silent of goal! Blake Widow's doing it! They're gonna take it! He's gonna bring down Burning. Alone with a double kill. Dropping fast. Monopoint's there. He's still alive! Wait, oh, seconds left. He's got one sub. He's got a second. He's taking it up. They're overdone on three! They're all dead!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. WPC Ace coverage resumes. We've got Game 2 of IG versus Tongfu coming up next. And then after that, we'll have a whole nother best of two. That's right, Tongfu versus Arenda coming up as our second BO2 tonight. I am Zyori, solo casting away, and we've got a lot of Dota coverage coming up here on BTS throughout the day. So I'm kind of just getting things kicked off. Then we'll have some EU Summit coverage, and we've got some South American Dota, and all. Roland's looking at me like I'm crazy. We've got all sorts of stuff coming up. But for now, IG versus Tongfu. IG the heavy favorites, about 80-20 odds. All of it on on Invictus Gaming. We'll see if rares will be lost tonight, boys. Game 2. Can IG close it out 2-0? We'll find out here in just a moment. Now, bans and whatnot looking pretty comparable. We've got these 6 core heroes or so that are kind of tossed around in some fashion, and you're seeing them right here. Invoker, Lycan, Centaur, Ancient Apparition, Batrider, and Ember Spirit. I like to think of them as the big 6. The big 6 bad daddies that are either banned out or picked in pretty much every game, especially here in the East, but it's pretty much across the board. So, IG... I want to say that they got the better of it. They got to first pick the Lycan here, and that opened up for Tongfu to first pick themselves the Invoker. 2 very first pick worthy heroes, but Lycan is almost a little bit more scary, especially in the hands of IG. It's just so easy to punish your opponents. Anytime you lose a fight against a Lycan, you know that Hal's coming out, some Wolves, big Wolfenstein, maybe a little bit of Necro units, and all of a sudden, oh man, we just lost a small skirmish in the mid lane, turns into, oh shit, there's our tier 2 tower in the mid. What happened to it? Oh right, they had a Lycan, damn. So we'll see how Tongfu draft around it. I think they'll need some anti-push here for sure, some creep clearing, and something to deal with that pesky Lycan. They will opt for a second pick Enchantress. And a hero that Tongfu have run just a little bit, but Tongfu seem to be one of these teams that fall into the trap of losing game 1 and then drafting what they got beat by. And they do this pretty frequently. We've seen a lot of Tongfu, and there's our boy, XBG. Is he drafting today for Tongfu? Not using the mouse, no, Q is drafting. Yeah, XBG, killing it. He looks tired today, man. Usually he looks a little more lively, but... I don't know. I like XBG. He's a badass IRL, badass player, in-game. Badass all around. Anyhow, we've seen a lot of Tongfu and WPC over the last week and a half or so, and they fall into this trap more often than not, and I worry with this Enchantress pick. Faith makes it look easy in the last game, and not that Enchantress is bad here, but she's not particularly good against Lycan, and that just makes me a little bit nervous. And I don't remember Tongfu. They're not huge on Enchantress, are they? That's not one of their core heroes. Yeah, they haven't been running it that much recently. So yeah, big Rubit pickers, but not so much on the Enchantress. Now IG, they do second pick the Mirana, get themselves a Priestess of the Moon. And just an all-around solid hero. She really helped in the last game. I really liked the way that IG laned it. It was not the way I thought it would go down, but putting Mirana in the position 1 gave her that early farm she needed to really have a strong presence in the mid-game with all of her magic damage. And although Lifestealer got a slow start, he just went hand to Midas, and he recovered so easily. By the time we got to the mid-game, he was kind of middle of the pack, and as the sole hand to Midas carrier, he balled out of control a little bit. IG will further with their bans here. 3rd ban on the Axe, and 4th ban on Shadow Demon. Interesting. Very interesting. Tongfu ban out Puck with their 3rd, and they'll actually burn a little bit of their bonus time here as they try and figure out which hero they want to take out of the pool with their 4th ban. Probably an off-laner of sorts. It's just hard to read how IG are going to lane this. A lot of options. They could try and off-lane the Lycan, and then put Mirana in a position 1 role, and then do the old switcheroo, kind of like they did last game, especially if you can get Lycan in a 1v1 matchup, if you can try and read how they're going to put their, where they're going to put their solo hero. Lycan fares pretty darn well in a solo lane. So a little bit hard to ban against the way IG have opened up this draft. The Axe ban still feels a little bit out of left field. Some of these Asian teams, they like the Axe a little bit too much, I think. He works in niche lineups, but the past few times we've seen Axe, it's been all that cheesy, like, cutting the long lane kind of bullshit, and it's backfired, I think, 3 out of 3 times since I've been casting WPC in the past few weeks. So Axe is one of those. Is he really that scary? If somebody really wants to do it, just let them have it. Pick yourself a Dazzle, pick yourself some range stunner, and just wreck the Axe. It's really not that hard to deal with. But third pick for Tongfu will be the Sand King, and they did choose to ban out the Nature's Prophet there. And look at that stat. WPC 2014, Nature's Prophet, 55% win rate over 22 games. Not a bad little sample. Pretty popular hero. And a pretty decent win rate as well. IG, they'll grab themselves the Rubik. They'll snipe it from Tongfu. And not even really a snipe. But they'll grab the Rubik. Tongfu have their supports on lockdown. Just all-around good support. Not too much to say about old Ruby Tuesday there. Not too many situations. Why Dazzle? Not too many situations where Rubik is a bad choice, to be perfectly frank. You got your instant disable there. Makes for a pretty easy setup with the arrows. And of course, I'm talking about Telekinesis, Fade Bolt, and then all the spells that you can steal. Everybody loves a Rubik. Liken. He's just a little bit strong right now. We've been talking about 6.81. We just did an in the studio about it the week before Star Ladder. Liken and Ember Spear are the two big talks of the town. How are they going to tweak those heroes to nerf them? By they, I mean Ice Frog. There was some chatter at dinner tonight about Necro 3 and Liken is what makes him so potent. Nerf Necro 3 and you nerf the Liken. That's all you got to do. And I think I'm okay of a fan. Okay of a fan. What words am I saying? I think I'm a bit of a fan. I could get on board with some nerf to the level 3 Necronomicon. That's how we saw Newbie upset DK the other day. 3 level 3 Necro books by the 20-minute mark. Good luck. Good luck defending against that one, Gyrocopter. Kill yourself with Flat Cannon. It's no fun for anyone. Clockwork, the 4th pick for Tongfu, and alright, we finally get to see some Clockwork. I've been talking about Clockwork a lot recently. There's 2 heroes out here in the East that teams absolutely don't use, and they absolutely should use. And those 2 heroes are Clockwork and Bane Elemental. We've seen Bane like twice in the past 2 weeks. One game he got destroyed, the other game he did destroy. We've seen teams try and pick Axe as a counter to Lifestealer over the Bane Elemental, and I just don't understand it. Bane is so good in some situations. Even just with the Mirana. Bane Mirana does not happen. Sometimes you see a Mirana Shadow Demon, but I don't know. They just don't like the Bane. And same with Clockwork. They favor a Darkseer, I mean, last game we saw an off-lane Lifestealer, for example, and Clockwork has just fallen out of style a bit. But I like him. He's good. I like the long-range initiation. He's a fun hero to watch, right? Who doesn't like a good Clockwork? You can do some fancy stuff with the cogs. He's a pretty solid laner. I chalk most of it up to the Rise of Centaur. The Rise of Centaur has caused a decline in the Clockwork, some sort of a supply and demand inverse relationship. I'm not sure what's happening with it. But Clockwork, he deserves some love. He deserves to be picked up. He's amazing. And we'll see how Tongfu utilize him here. Pretty exciting. Maybe they'll go for a Lifestealer final pick. Could be an option. Clockwork's a great delivery vehicle. But we'll have to see the final bans first. Perhaps that will be the final ban from IG. TA will be banned out by Tongfu to round things out. Would have been an okay mid-hero for Invictus. TA tends to fare pretty well against the Invoker. And okay, IG, they'll ban out the Morphling, not the Lifestealer I was thinking. So that could be an option for old Tongfu there. Get a little bit of Nakes on the field, steal some lives. They could do it. Other carries. Luna could work okay here if they wanted to be a little bit more passive, but teams in the East don't really seem to like Luna that much either. We talked about it a little bit, a lot actually, over the broadcast, the back-to-back WPC broadcast when Star Ladder was happening. Most of you were watching Star Ladder, and that's okay. I still love you. But back-to-back nights, triple-digit viewers. We were having a lot of fun in chat. And Luna just doesn't fit the playstyle of this meta so well. She peaks kind of early on, and then dips down to the mid-game, and then comes back real strong in the late game. And it's just kind of an odd playstyle that, for whatever reason, the Eastern teams have really yet to master, at least the little bit that I've seen her in WPC. Tongfu will opt for Slark, so they won't go hard carry mode. They will go for more of kind of a mid-game oriented build here. Draft, I guess I should say. We'll see how IG want to finish off their draft. I'm in my head assuming that's a support Mirana, but it very well may be a position 1 Mirana. She could, probably not the offlaner here, but they do have some options. Okay, it'll be a Dazzle last pick. Woohoo! Get to see some Shadow Priest this game. That's what I'm talking about. But it will probably be a tri-lane with that Lycan Mirana in the off. No. How are they going to lane this? Is that a Darkseer mid? I'm not sure how they're going to lane this. Okay, looks like Ferrari will pick up the Mirana. So Mirana mid. Safe lane Lycan with the tri-lane. Then an off-lane Darkseer. That's probably going to be it. So a little bit interesting for IG. They will keep things spicy. Look at all those excited faces as we get into this game. Look at them. They're all so excited. There's Chuan. Leader Chuan. Every time I see Chuan, I just see that picture of his head on top of the Tidehunter when he had that epic ravage. That's like, I don't know. I see that meme first, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? Let's get some Dota sounds out on the field here, guys. There we go. Welcome to Game 2 of this Best of 2 series. IG took Game 1 in a very convincing manner, and here we're moving into Game 2 against Tongfu. Will they be able to seal the deal, or can Tongfu give us an upset here and make it a 1-1? Time will tell. Looks like we could see some early initiation. IG moving into the jungle to start things off. Tongfu positioned appropriately on the other side of the trees. They do have the high ground here. And IG, they've only got 3 heroes, but they've got a pretty 1 level fight team. What am I saying? A level 1 fighting team. These words. Not enough coffee. Yeah, blame it on the lack of caffeine. Just tied my tongue into a knot. Oh, Jesus. I've always wanted to tie a cherry stem in a knot with my tongue, but I've never been able to do it. I've tried so many times, but you ever noticed this little crow just hanging out here? Shout out to Game of Thrones. You've got to taste crow. Ward comes down from the Radiant side here on the high ground. And Dire Wards, they'll just go for rune coverage. They get one down on the high ground here in the mid lane. Will be a double damage at the 0-0 mark in the top position. And they'll get this little guy here. One of my favorite ward spots. Gives you great insight into the jungle area right here. And, of course, gives you vision of the rune over here. And you've got your Radiant Ward on the high ground. Entryway into the jungle. A little vision of the bottom rune. So both sides have their bases covered.
Double damage.
Oh, Twitch chat. Y'all crack me up. On the Radiant side, we've got Invictus Gaming. It'll be YYF on the solo safe lane Darkseer. In the mid, it will be Z playing on the Lycans. We'll have a Lycan solo mid, and here's this tri-lane. Chuan will be on the support Rubik. Faith on the support Dazzle. And that's Ferrari 430. 430, yes indeed, on this Mirana. Picked up a double damage, so he'll snake his way into some free last hits to get things started here. On the Dire side, we've got Team Tongfu, the heavy underdogs coming into this series. That'll be Sorry Fox playing on the position 1 Slark. Q on the support Sand King. And who is this on the Enchantress? That's got to be XBG. I hate it when they're not tagged up with their real names. I don't read Mandarin. But that's okay. Pretty sure it's XBG there. Saw him on camera, so it's got to be him. Oh, in lane. That arrow. Close, but off the mark. Enchantress will smoke up. Wrapping around. The double Centaur. They'll go for Faith. Plenty of stuns. They'll lock him down. No shallow grave. That's your first blood. Dazzle did skill it, but just couldn't get it off. Q, he's the one to secure that bonus gold on the Sand King. Great start for Tongfu out of the gate. Not the kill on Mirana, but still a kill nonetheless. And he didn't have leap, so they probably could have killed Ferrari if they caught him. But they'll settle for the Shadow Priest. In that scenario with the shallow grave, kind of have to go for the Dazzle. Not too many choices about it, but always sad to see a Dazzle get killed. Base Sayori. To finish introducing our rosters here, that's U9 going to be on the Invoker in the solo mid, and it will be MT playing the off-lane Rattletrap Clockwork. So U9, once again, we'll see a Exort. Oh no, we saw a Quaswex Invoker last game. What am I saying? Exort Invoker, though, coming out for U9. And we've seen a fair bit of Exort Invoker right now. I think it's in a pretty good place overall. That global setup, they don't really have a lot of it, but they have enough stuns that we'll see some Sun Strikes play a role here. It does pair very well with Clockwork. Yeah, I guess that's something we probably should have assumed. Anytime you see an Invoker Clockwork together in the East, usually a pretty good sign that you'll see an Exort Invoker, because Cogs make for easy Sunstrike setups. Lycan seems to be faring quite nicely here in the mid lane. His CS about on par with the Invoker here, 11 to 9 respectively. XBG grabs himself a Haster and actually rotates into the Radiant jungle, has a Hellbear and a Dark Troll Summoner, so a pretty scary ganking duo of creeps And may try and set up some kills in the mid lane here. Darkseer, not an easy gank with 2 points in Surge, but he'll just rotate towards the mid. And Snare, Thunderclap ready. There will also be a rotation from IG, though. Both supports, they're ready for it. I don't know if this is luck or good game sense, but here's the gank. Cold Snap to start things off. And Snare. And that will actually be an off-the-mark Sunstrike. Enchantress will be the first to fall. Good rotation from IG, and most importantly, they keep their Lycan alive. Didn't even need the Shallow Grave. If the Sunstrike had been on the mark, would have been a necessary grave, but the support coming in, just a little bit too easy for IG. And what am I talking about? Game sense. There was a ward right here. They knew it. They saw it coming. Great rotation. Nice heads-up play. And now MT actually almost in trouble down here in the bottom lane. I think YYF could have surged and, well, pressured that Clockwork close to a kill. Probably didn't want to dive the tower, but that'll tie things up. IG get their first kill on the board, and this graph all over the place, but out jumping back into IG's favor. Darkseer, our last hit leader, so he's having a good time down here in the safe lane. Clockwork finding a fair bit of farm against the solo Darkseer. He's level 5, and about 12 last hits, 13 now under his belt. In the mid, still a pretty even trade, and that leaves us with up top. How are the position 1s doing? Mirana, 14-3 against the 5-1 Slark. Wow, sorry Fox, just getting smashed in this top lane. They're slapping him around a little bit. What's he doing? Oh, no. See, one good thing about Slark is in the mid game, at the end of the laning phase, he'll be able to do a lot of damage without too many items, but he'll fall off very quickly. A very snowbally hero. Probably looking for an early Shadow Blade, something like that, just so he can roam around, create some space, pick up some kills, but with this small amount of farm, it's going to be rough. He will hop forward, does connect on Ferrari. There's a Burrow Strike, Sunstrike on the mark. U9 gets credit for the kill. And Slark actually almost takes a spill. He will. Mirana gets credit for the kill as the tower finishes him off. So it would have been a nice gank, but it ends up being a 1-for-1 and losing the Slark. That's a little bit rough for Tongfu. Both position 1s fall. And it is advantageous for Tongfu. Invoker gets a little pick-me-up. He gets some experience out of it. And falling to the tower means Mirana doesn't get experience for the kill. But still. Nice 1-for-1. And Ferrari will find himself a little gold boost there. Pretty close to his phase boots. Has Blades of Attack already in the inventory and pulling up for the second bout. And just continuing to zone out the Slark. That's really the big disparity. And looking at the gold graph here, actually not as different as I would have thought. Clockwork now level 6. That means hook shots online. He's got himself a bottle. And he'll probably be moving around a little bit more, setting up those kills. Darkseer, he will actually grab a Wall of Replica at level 6. Interesting to observe the different Ishkafel builds that we see. A lot of Darkseers do opt to save it until like level 9 or so. Just get those points up in Surge, as well as the Ion Shell. But instead, he's going to go for the Replica Wall. And early on, people tend to forget that it does 150 damage just straight up. So we've seen it used as a finisher. And can be worth picking up at level 6 if you plan on fighting. A decent little nuke there in the early levels. An attempted gank from the Enchantress. She was smoked up. But efforts unsuccessful here for XBG. Won't find what he's looking for. Picks himself up a couple of sentries and then just goes back to farming. Only level 4 right now. Enchantress 0-1-1. Hasn't been particularly active this game. Did secure the first blood, but other than that, tried to rotate mid. Got completely quelled by that rotation from IG. And now he's just been slated to pick up farm. We see the Clockwork trying to set up a kill of sorts. He has a double damage rune, but Big Woofy here. He's got one of the baby wolves just chasing him down. This is part of the problem with Lycan. He's ridiculous for an array of reasons, much like Ember Spirit. In different capacity, but not only is Lycan great at farming, great at pushing towers, he can carry the game, he can sneak Roche, he can solo it for Christ's sake. He's also got mobile wards. Mobile wards that supports can't kill. You can kill supports with your wolves. All they can do is run away. With the regeneration and improved fade time, there's just no way that they can stop the wolves from messing them up. And there, you saw it. Just, oh, Clockwork, that could have been a kill otherwise, but easy scouting. Up top, initiation perhaps onto IG. Telekinesis will be enough to delay their efforts. And the members of IG will just walk back to the tier 1 tower. Nice defensive telekinesis. Ruby Tuesday using that instant disable. Making Sand King's life a little more difficult. He does have his Arcane Boots up now. Level 4, 220. Pretty standard Sand King opener here. Again, Sand King with the Enchantress in the jungle. It does slow down how quickly that Sand King can farm. You can have a really fast blink if you have free reign of the jungle, but they don't have it here. Smoke from IG, Ferrari, and Chuan. They're looking to do the wraparound. XBG, he'll get telekinesed. Arrow will hit creeps, but they might have the damage to finish him off. Sprites come out, but yep, just not enough. That Enchantress just a little too squishy, and Rubik will get credit for that kill. That'll make it 3-2 here at the 8-minute mark as IG pull ahead. Dazzle spamming out the heals. And there you see an illusion rune here at the bottom rune spawn at the 8-minute mark. It will be MT on the clockwork to go down and fill up that bottle. He is now level 7, going the max DPS build, 4 points in battery assault. But Clockwork, he's not really been that great this game. A little bit lackluster, 0-0-0 at the 8.5-minute mark. Generally speaking, Clockwork is an offlaner. You want to hit level 6 as quickly as possible and then just start moving around and making plays happen. Up top, Darkseer will get initiated upon by the Slark, but he just gets turned around on. A couple of tower shots, an Ion Shell, and, well, Darkseer shows off his tankiness right there. He's got a good bit of early armor with the Tranquil Boots, a little bit of regeneration with the Soul Ring. And he's got 10 armor already. Just not easy for this Slark to do damage to him. But in comes the Clockwork. Sunstrike on the mark. Easy kill onto the Slark. Or pardon me, onto the Darkseer. Slark setting it up. Cogs making it an easy Sunstrike. And again, U9 coming out the big breadwinner. Let's take a look at net worth. And oh yeah, he's number 1. He is 2-2-0. So not surprised to see him kind of scooting ahead. He is our last hit leader, almost. Darkseer a few last hits up on him. Probably see U9 take over. He does have his Hand of Midas up now. So Invoker will be a bit more of a carry this game, and Tongfu, they need it. They don't have a lot of carry power. Their time to shine is going to be in this mid game. Once this Slark starts to peak a little bit, once he gets an item, Power Treads will be his first pit stop there. But now that Clockwork's level 8, he can move around and set up ganks. Sand King. He'll be working towards his Blink Dagger. Once he gets Epicenter, he can start moving around as well. And now Tongfu, they'll get back-to-back towers. They get the top tier 1. They get the top mid-tier 1 as well. It is denied by Dazzle. Meanwhile, up top, initiation onto the Darkseer. Chuan, he'll rotate in. The tower is actually still standing. And I think they might be able to turn this around. Yeah, they'll get a kill on the Slark. Wall of Replica comes out for a little bit of extra damage. And it will just be a tier 1 for tier 1 tower exchange. IG get the tower in the bottom lane. They deny the tier 1 in the mid lane. And they defend their tier 1 in the top lane. So actually, it's IG who come out way ahead in that exchange. It looked like Tongfu were going to get 2 towers in exchange for 1, but Faith with the deny helps tip the scales a little bit. And then they find that kill on the Slark up top. And that's their position 1 Slark, so that's going to slow him down even more now. He'll have enough gold still to buy his Power Treads, compliments of that tower gold. But say goodbye to your savings there, sorry Fox.
Top tower is under attack.
Uh-oh. Courier could be in some trouble. That is the Vlad's for Lycan. But MT just not in a position to finish it off. He's only on brown boots and won't be able to secure the kill. Right now, it feels like there's a lot riding on the back of this Invoker. Looking at net worth, he's the number 1 farmer by a decent margin, but he is the only one that's farming well on the side of Tongfu. Meanwhile, IG, they've got Lycan nipping at his heels. Oh, quite literally. Darkseer farming well, and the position 1 Mirana farming quite well also. Doing the same build as last game. Phase boots just into drums. The silliest this game, no Ring of Aquila. But will probably be a reality once farm allows. Darkseer here. Ishkafel working on his mech, has the buckler up. And there's your Vlad's on Lycan. So the initial core items for IG starting to come out across the board. Really the only core item we've seen on Tongfu so far is that Hand of Midas on the Invoker. And he will transition into a Necro Book, has the Staff of Wizardry. And we'll just start pushing a little bit more heavily here. And Mr. Clockwork, what are you working on, pal? Looks like he'll be the mech carrier this game. No big surprise, and a decent item on Clockwork. Relatively low armor hero. Hook shot across the trees. That'll connect onto the Lycan. Cogs come out. There's your shapeshift, but Cold Snap, Sunstrike will be on the mark. MT taking heavy damage from the Lycan. They just don't have enough, though. Lycan will just shapeshift. Big Woofy runs away. Meanwhile, up top, Slark engages onto the Darkseer. Both of them do a lot of damage, and now Slark, he's on the run. Wall of Replica comes out, arrow flies. It'll be off the mark, but YYF, he serves as effective bait. And oh boy, sorry Fox, he falls for it. Just gets obliterated. A 4-on-1. Faith gets credit for that kill. 4 points of the Shadow Wave. Yeah, he'll just nuke him down. Well done. Necro Book, level 1, now out on Invoky. So U9, he'll have a bit more pushing power under his belt. But I feel like Tongfu are just lacking damage output. The fact that Lycan was able to just run away. I mean, that was a 2-on-1. Sunstrike was even on the mark. There were some creeps nearby to absorb some of the damage, but still. Easy pickings for Lycan. He just moves straight back into the jungle. Meanwhile, the rest of IG, they transition that kill on Slark into a top tier 1 tower kill. Z with a double damage rune. Will sip up the bottle. Doesn't have an ultimate here, but they still want to go for this kill on U9. Rubik's rotated down. Moonlight Shadow to initiate this. Like him, just right-click away. Telekinesis. They'll have plenty of damage for this kill. Mirana comes in, actually gets credit for it. Killing spree now for Ferrari. That'll make it 6-3. And IG just starting to pick up some serious momentum. XBG in the mid lane. YYF, he'll rotate in. Ion Shell. No, doesn't want to be aggressive. Faith. They should have plenty of damage here. They'll just go straight in on him. Negative Earn. Poison Touch. Ion Shell. And Dead Enchantress. Nothing she can do about it. XBG just way out of position. Way too far deep without any team support. Especially with the Invoker dead. Nobody nearby. You just can't be there. Way too far forward. It's not like this Enchantress is farmed either. She's sitting on brown boots and a couple of consumables. Oh, Q. He gets smacked in the face. And that'll be a kill. Mirana setting it up. Ownage coming out for Ferrari. 3,000 gold now. Over 3,000 experience. We had a dead even game, and all of a sudden IG just picking up kills left and right. Really giving it to him. Doing it to it. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, initiation from MT. He doesn't have a hook shot, but he's trying to get aggressive. He won't find it, and Invoker will just back out. Well, game was good. Invoker's still number 1 on net worth, but not for long. Lycan coming at him. And Lycan, he's got 2,400 gold, so if he wants Necro Book, which I'm sure he does, it'll be coming out before too long here. He did not grab a medallion yet either. Usually pretty core on the Lycan. One of the tools that allows him to do Roche so easily. Not a necessity, but does make things a little bit easier. Against Clockwork, it is a little bit more difficult for Lycan to sneak into the Roche pit. He's got those rocket flares for non-stop scouting. And if you're missing Lycan off the map for too long, you don't have vision around Roche, it can prove a pretty effective tool. But uh-oh, Sand King, you're in the danger zone, buddy. Hookshot in from MT onto his friend. Epicenter channeling. It will go off, doing a fair bit of damage, but the return damage is just too much. Clockwork the first to fall. Q now on the run, and the support from Dazzle keeps everyone topped off. And an easy double kill coming out for the Lycan. A bloody disaster for Tongfu. I'm not sure what that hookshot was from the Clockwork. Basically a suicidal hookshot. I think he wanted to play Sacrificial Lamb, but Sand King wasn't running. He had no fear. He said, hey, thanks, Clockwork. Now I can get off my Epicenter. But they just have no damage. I mean, that was 2 Shadow Waves from Dazzle, to be fair. It is level 4, so 6-second cooldown. He can spam it pretty effectively. But, I mean, look, they're all full health. That was an Epicenter. That was 2 heroes worth of ultimates. Oh, man. Just a disaster. Tongfu falling apart at the seams. It's like when you're a Build-A-Bear, but you don't sew it up right, and you take it home, and the stuffing just falls out. Then you've got an anorexic bear. That's what Tongfu are like right now. The stitching is just coming apart at the seams. Over a 5,000 gold lead, now about 7,500 experience. Tongfu just have to do something. They're in crisis mode now. They're at that point where they can't just sit back and farm. They've lost all of their outer towers. They have picked up 2 of their own, one of which was denied. Hookshot forward. These are the kind of plays I'm talking about. Lycan does manage to get off the ultimate. Burrow strike forward. Slark coming in. Moonlight Shadow, but it's not enough. And they secure a kill on the Lycan. Nicely done by Tongfu. But support is inbound. Arrow hits the Clockwork. The follow-up damage just isn't there, though. Mirana won't leap into it. And uh-oh. Slark will actually leap into Mirana. There's the Burrow strike. They make it a 2-0. That ends the dominating streak as well. Sand King picks up 550 gold. Gets a double kill out of it. And now all of a sudden they've got a Blink Dagger inbound. Oh my Lanta, Tongfu. Just as you think IG are going to run away with it. They show a sign of life and they move straight into the Roche pit. With Lycan down, such a smart play. Now the question is, will they have enough damage to finish him off? They sure will. With the Enchantress, this should be pretty easy. She's got untouchable. She's got herself a medallion. Nature's will attend her. And I think they'll be able to do it. Here we go. That gold graph moving into Tongfu's favor. Still a ways to go, but baby steps, as they like to say.
Roshan has fallen to the
Level 2 Necro Book now up on the Lycan, but there's your Blink Dagger on the SK. Clockwork. He almost has mech, about halfway to the final recipe. Invoker sitting on Necro level 1 for now, and that's a level Necro 2 on the Courier. Old Shagbark there. Cutie pie. Wow. So all of a sudden, now Tongfu in okay shape. That Roche will really help things out a lot. Gives Slark a little bit of recovery farm. His farm is still pretty lackluster. He's middle of the pack. But at least it's something. He'll now have his drums up to go after the power treads. I still think Shadowblade is probably the way to go. Kind of core on Slark. Just gives him so much more gank ability. IG will rotate to the bottom lane,
Dire's
though, as it
middle
appears
tower
Tongfu
is
will
under
start to
attack.
pressure this bottom tier 1. The last remaining tier 1 tower in this match that will level out the tower count. So IG will be looking to make a hold. We've got Dazzle and Rubik
Dire's middle
stationed in the
tower
trees
is
here.
under
YYF
attack.
in the front lines. He's got mech. He's not so scared. They've got everyone down here except the Lycan. And I think Z will just hang out up top and look for a little Rat Dodo. Oh, initiation. They'll dive the tower. Arrow flies. It's off the mark. Sand King going in. Dazzle throws out the Grave on YYF. Tongfu taking heavy damage here. Sunstrike right in the middle of the fight. Clockwork will be the first to go down. Now the rest of Tongfu in full retreat mode. Invoker taking heavy damage. Starstorm to finish him off. Enchantress, she gets clipped by it as well. She'll fall. Do. Straight into the epicenter, but there's just no damage. He gets obliterated as soon as he goes in. They'll finish off Slark. That'll proc the Aegis. He comes right back. Pounces into the trees. Where's the interrupt? They don't have it. No vision. But what a disaster. Not a single death on the side of IG. Meanwhile, Tongfu get completely wiped up. It's a 5-0. The only reason Slark's alive is
Dire's
because of
top
the Aegis.
tower is under
They
attack.
just get obliterated. I mean, we saw that epicenter. It was okay. But it just tickled. IG are just too tanky. Between the Dazzle Shadow Wave, the Lycan's Lifesteal, and then the mech on the Darkseer, Tongfu just can't take any team fights. That's it. That's an easy tier 2
Dire's
tower kill.
bottom
That's the
tower
power of the
has
Lycan. You get
fallen.
punished. So it was fun, Tongfu. You gave us a good show. I'm glad you got Roche. It made things a little spicy there in the mid game, but cheese and crackers. You are in all sorts of trouble. There's a Maelstrom now out on the Mirana. They'll smoke up here outside of the Dire Ancients, and IG, they're not done. They're hungry for more. They had one sandwich, they're going to say, hey, there wasn't enough meat on that sandwich. I'm going to need 2 if you expect me to continue playing Dota today. Their smoke does get revealed. Compliments of that Clockwork, but... Ooh, wow. They move bottom, trying to catch that Sand King, but he'll blink out just in the nick of time. Close call.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So that Maelstrom's up. Darkseer, he's going to have a pipe before too long here. He's got himself a Hood of Defiance. And, yep, just about 700, 800 gold or so. That'll be a pipe of insight. And that Darkseer will get a little smarter, a little loopier. And they'll be immune to magic damage for about 500 or so. Not that it really is that necessary. I mean, we've seen how little damage these epicenters do. It's nothing. It's just nothing. They have no
Dire's
damage
bottom
output.
tower is under
And this is
attack.
part of the problem when you pick a Slark like this. Tongfu have this mid-game hero, this mid-game carry. He needs to snowball, but he's not balling. He's 0-3 and 4. He's got no items. He's going to be forced straight into a BKB, kind of like the Weaver from last game. Forced into a BKB, and then they have no damage output. Faith. Ooh, this is an aggressive Dazzle. He's invisible. He'll scout things out. They see the Clockwork. Maybe. Ferrari. Chuan. Can they set something up? Can they set the trap? Can they do this Yugi style? Will they activate the trap card? Conclusion coming up next Saturday. Uh-oh. There's even a Dire Sentry down. And Faith, he has a few seconds left on the invisibility, but this isn't going to go the way that IG were hoping, and now Faith is going to be kind of isolated here. He'll walk into the creep wave. This is about to expire. He needs to be careful. And whew, we'll just stay out of vision. Arrow gets launched. And, ooh, off the mark. Almost clipped Sorry Fox there, but he makes it out. Observer comes down near the Radiant Secret Shop here. Compliments of Q. He'll station in the trees, looking for a big epicenter. Uh-oh. Chuan. He's walking into the danger zone. There we go. Blink forward. Burrow strike. Sandstorm. Arrow off the mark. But so is the Sunstrike. No kill comes out. Rubik, what does he get? He gets the Sandstorm, I think. Yep, he sure does. There's Telekinesis onto the Slark. Follow-up damage. A lot of burst damage. A vacuum in. And the wall will be enough to finish off Enchantress. Dazzle gets credit for the kill. They'll chase down the Slark. He falls as well. He pops the ultimate, but it's just not enough. Now they jump forward, looking to interrupt the Clockwork. The arrow. Oh, just half a second too late. Close call there, Lamborghini, but not going to make it. And, yeah, Sand King, he'll just board out. Well, that'll be an easy 2-0 for IG. Sand King maybe getting a little bit gully right there, a little overzealous. In the mid, Z, Burrow Strike, comes
Dire's
out,
middle tower
but
is
Sand
under
King just
attack.
blinks back to safety. Level 3 Necronomicon now out on the Lycan. And he'll just go for a BKB himself. The pushing power is real, and the struggle for Tongfu to defend is even more real. So, IG, they'll transition this into a tier 2 tower push. Rocket Flare comes flying in. Play
Dire's
sound
top
effects.
tower
There's your
is
pipe.
under attack.
And Darkseer
Dire's
+5
structures
intellect.
are
No, just kidding.
fortified.
But he's getting a little smarter. And this tower, just look at how quickly it falls. The glyphs already come out, and she's burning. Necronomicon, level 3 out on the Invoker. They'll give him a taste of their own medicine. Pounce does connect onto Z. Takes pretty heavy damage, loses all of his mana. Meatball flies down in the middle of the fight. Clockwork hook shots in. YYF taking pretty hefty damage, but he's one tanky Darkseer. Wall still on cooldown. Grave comes out. They'll keep YYF alive. They pick up the kill on Clockwork. Just too much return damage. Darkseer finally falls, but down goes the Invoker. And now this Lycan's starting to go ham. Slark, he's pouncing all over the place. It is a 1 for 2, about to be a 1 for 3. Poison Touch comes out on the Slark. Z just trying to finish him off. They'll find the kill. Meanwhile, around the backside, Rubik keeping Q busy. And do not going to be enough to save him. It ends as a 1 for 4. IG just taking this fight by brute force. And now they will finish off this tower. They might be able to go high ground here. They don't even have to. Tongfu, they just tap out. 20-6, 23 minutes of gameplay. They tap out early, but not too early. Tongfu, they don't have the late game. They had the mid-game team, and they got shit stomped here in the mid-game. And there you have it. IG, 80-20 favorites on Dota 2 Lounge, and well, they will not fold under the pressure. They take a pretty easy 2-0 over Tongfu. We talked about it in the draft, and one of the problems that Tongfu have been making recently is just drafting around their opponents. If they lose game 1, they like to pick up those heroes they felt were really strong. And Enchantress front and center right here. IG did serious work with Enchantress in game 1. And Tongfu, 0, 5, and 2. Just such a low impact support. And you need that Enchantress to do work. You need her to set up those kills. That's what she does best. She gives you that early game edge. You need it. Guesses on MVPs? Hard to say. But they might give it to Ferrari here on the Murata. He played pretty well. Maybe that Rubik, though. Chuan was 2-0 and 14. Perfect game coming out of the Ruby Tuesday. Well done. Oops. So that wraps up our first Best of 2 series tonight, guys. It is the first day of WPC this week, so only 2 Best of 2s. Coming up next will be Tongfu versus Arenda, and that's scheduled to start in just about 35 minutes. So we'll have a pretty decent break here. I'm going to have to scrounge around for a little more caffeine. But we will be back after a 30-minute break for our second Best of 2 for WPC coverage tonight. I'm Zyori, slated to solo cast. Thank you for joining us here. It's been a pleasure so far, and it was Chuan. There you go, 2-0 and 14. And in WPC, the MVP, that means that player gets a little bit of bonus cash IRL in their pocket, a little extra incentive to make the big plays. And Chuan will walk away just a little bit richer after those fantastic Rubik plays. So a short break, guys, then more Dota 2 action come your way on Beyond the Summit after this break.